This will get, without a shred of doubt, be demonetized. There's no denial that this won't be demonetized. Anyways, we'll look at this. This is not for the faint of heart. This is a true crime video, so we'll look at it. The real story of Netflix Sector 36 serial killer who munched on kids by Desi Studios. Yeah, we'll just jump in. This will get uncomfortable.
I just felt like chopping her up and eating her. So I...
Why, by the way, I've realized this. Why does this channel not get away from the eating people? Why does that continue to be brought up? I remember when I watched the video of the Japanese man eating a Dutch woman in France. Very interesting.
Went to get a knife. Then I cut a piece of her arm and her left breast, which I cooked in the kitchen. Then...
My brother in Christ. Yeah, that man's going to hell.
I ate her breast. These few sentences...
Desi Studios, I do have a question. I genuinely do have a question. My dear people, I have a question. I really do. The munching sound, there was no reason to add the munching sounds. Not even a small one. There was no reason to add that. No. No. We didn't need to do that.
Sentences changed the meaning of a psychopath for most Indians. This is an investigation of corruption, murder, necrophilia, and cannibalism. This is the Nithari case.
इसने अभी हम लोगों को जो बताया है लगभग संख्या बताई कि इसने 5-6 बच्चों के बारे में कन्फेस किया है.
Wait, did you not check it before? It doesn't matter if I check it before or not. All true crime stuff will get demonetized. The potato one that was super mild and still got them age restricted. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't if I pre-check or not. This will get age restricted. If talking about deletion, it will just get age restricted. Long intro.
June 20th.
Also, I think that the audio might be a bit too, yeah, few percentage is too low, too high. Okay, age restricted though, better than the Daddy Yellow dollar. That is the Daddy Yellow dollar. That is the yellow dollar. Demonetized would be red. Then you have yellow, which is age restricted, and then you have the stuff that's kind of ass, which is the red one. So yes, this one will get the yellow.
2005, a day that Jabbu Lal would never forget. Working as a dhobi or laundryman on the outskirts of Delhi in a small village called Nithari, Jabbu barely made enough to feed his children. But what he lacked in money, he gained in relationships. Jabbu's family was happy and bustling. But little did he know, his family would soon change forever. It was almost 9 in the morning when Lal's wife Neena asked their 10-year-old daughter Jyoti to take a sari, a traditional Indian dress for women, to the tailor to fix some stitching. Jyoti pounced at the opportunity. Any excuse to leave the house and have some fun outside, she thought. Jyoti grabbed the sari and headed to Sector 31, a posh gated...
I don't want to be rude. Is she balding? Anyways.
Excuse to leave the house and have some fun outside, she thought. Jyoti grabbed the sari and headed to Sector 31, a posh, gated community where the tailor had their shop. The glitz and glamour of Sector 31 was all too clear. Compared to the slums, garbage dumps, and open sewers of Nithari, Sector 31 had 3-story villas which dotted perfectly paved streets and luxury cars parked in spacious garages. But Sector 31 and Nithari were more than 2 different areas. They were 2 separate worlds. On her way into Sector 31, Jyoti saw a perfectly yellow...
2 different, like one is very poor, the other one isn't? Is that what it is? What they mean by 2 different worlds? Is because one is super poor and the other one isn't? It's like, on one side people have enough to feed themselves and the other one that isn't the case.
Yellow banana lying on the ground. For Jyoti, this was a godsend. She scooped up the banana and ran back to her house to give it to her sister Bharti. Jyoti was ecstatic, screaming, "Look what I found! You can eat half of this banana and I'll save the other half for Ma." They both laughed as Jyoti handed Bharti the banana and left to go back into Sector 31 to get the sari tailored. Bharti didn't know it at the time, but this would be the last time she'd ever see her younger sister. Not soon after, Jabbu and his wife started to work.
The younger sister's getting munched. Isn't it? Sector 31 is said to be haunted now. Hey, of the story of like that? Definitely. I think you should just burn the whole place at this point.
Worry. Jyoti still hadn't come home. Eventually, their worry grew into fear. It had only been an hour, but they both had a reason to worry. Rumors had been circulating that girls were going missing near Nithari. Acting on his nerves, Jabbu fetched his bicycle, called some friends, and set out on a search for his 10-year-old daughter in Sector 31.
Never mind, the other one gets munched. Yeah, in India, it's either too rich or too poor. Yeah, I can tell.
Soon to follow was Jyoti's mother. Sweating in the sweltering June sun, Nina darted in and out of stores until she arrived at the tailor's storefront. Although nervous, she felt optimistic the tailor would be able to point her in the direction of her daughter's whereabouts. The tailor had seen Jyoti, but before Nina could take a sigh of relief, the tailor said Jyoti left his shop to find another tailor because his stitching machine was broken. Alarm bells immediately sounded in Nina's head.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So all that because the machine was broken. She goes to another tailor and the tailor does rather
She too had heard the rumors of missing girls. In fact, at this point, everyone in Nithari had heard the rumors. Tracing Jyoti's path, Nina came across 2 local vendors and asked whether they had seen the 10-year-old daughter. Unfortunately, neither had. In her frenzied search, Nina stopped at a house number D5 in Sector 31, a large 3-story mansion which reigned over her like a castle. She approached the owner of the home, Muninder Singh Pandher, who was standing by the gate, and asked if he'd seen...
The tailor took her? I don't know. Probably not. I mean, him saying that she went out to look for another tailor and of course could just be a lie, right? That could just be a lie. I'm just theorizing here. This could just be a lie, right? And she didn't actually. Who knows?
Seen her daughter. Muninder denied it, but Nina insisted. Muninder must have seen something, she thought. But when she pressed him again, he stood his ground, denying any knowledge of the young Jyoti. At this point, Nina was starting to feel a tad suspicious. That's when she noticed another figure, a man, lurking behind Muninder at the gate. He was shorter in stature.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one. We're spiders. Too late. You always come back too late. If you don't stick around, I will just react to the spiders without it. I mean, that Taylor got offended and just ended her. That could be. That's a possibility, but there's another dude now.
Almost hidden. His name was Surendra Kohli, and he worked as Muninder's full-time domestic help. Both of the men denied seeing Jyoti. Without any proof to the contrary, Nina decided to leave. Jyoti's parents scrambled for months to get the police's attention. They tried filing a missing persons report, but the police denied it. For 6 months, the couple went to the station begging the police to help find their daughter. Every time they were met with excuses. She ran away. I'm sure she'll come back, they'd say.
I think since they know that girls were disappearing, I have to say this. They probably should have told her daughter that she should cut once the tailor was done. She should come back immediately. That would have probably been a good idea instead of like telling her that she shouldn't go somewhere else because something is happening. I think that would have been a smart idea. Huh. That is if the girl, maybe the girl did know and did go anyways, but regardless. Okay, the ugly one is the criminal for sure. Profiling. If you're ugly, you're a criminal. That's interesting. The mom is smart. Yeah, she probably immediately smelled something was wrong.
But Jyoti's disappearance wasn't the last one. Missing persons cases racked up in the months following Jyoti's disappearance. The complaints mostly involved young girls, but the police weren't interested, brushing them off as runaways or lies. Many of the missing children were born to poor immigrant families from other states like Bihar and West Bengal. In the police's mind, these cases were busy work, bearing no fruit and a lot of labor. By December 2005, things...
That's rough if you can't ask. The police is useless. The police is useless. Parents here, especially lower class, is quite carefree. That's retarded. How old was the kid? 10. I think he said that she was 10.
were not improving in Ithari. Several children, including Jyoti, had gone missing. Although no official complaints were filed with the police, word of the missing children was starting to spread across the city and eventually to the local media. Police had their hands tied and finally started to take some action, questioning people in Ithari and Sector 31 about the missing children. And that's when the police realized something interesting. The missing girls were last seen in the same 100-meter stretch of road before they disappeared. Police immediately started to patrol the stretch. But even...
At least they're not as not dumb enough to not notice that, at least. Told you the police is useless here. That is crazy. So all disappeared in the same road. Interesting. That's already odd.
with that vigilance, 2 more girls went missing. The 100 meters puzzled the police, so much so they codenamed the area Black Hole because it seemed to suck in children who were never to be found again.
So what did the cops think was happening here? Why were these girls disappearing like this?
So Shweta, the cops still haven't taken this as seriously as they should. Their investigation by this point is more of a performance. They haven't filed FIRs or first incident reports, but to their credit, they explored the obvious angle being gangs kidnapping girls.
And do we know, is that what's happening here?
So Nithari is a slum area. Girls in this area are susceptible to crimes such as trafficking. If you've seen Slumdog Millionaire, you know all too well about it. So what the cops do is they raid all the brothels, the red light areas, in a 5...
I'm gonna be honest here. If that was the area I would live in, I would not let my child go alone anywhere. Maybe I'm just too reasonable. But I wouldn't let my child go anywhere without me. Anywhere. You know, police are so dumb. They call a 16-year-old girl a slut on national news. That is crazy. That is wild. It took them for many children to get kidnapped until they began taking this seriously. Wow, that is crazy. How incompetent. These are incredibly, not just... Have you seen Slumdog Millionaire? No, I have not. I have not seen that. But these people, this police is incredibly incompetent. And I thought they were competent here.
100-kilometer radius of Nithari. And guess what? They were able to rescue 21 girls.
And so that means this case is closed.
But Aishwarya, what's...
Wow. They were able to rescue 21 girls after horrible things happened to them. Because you waited too long. Sure, buddy. Sure. I don't think giving them... You mean give the kids to the pit bulls at this point, because you know what happens with pit bulls and kids.
What's really strange is that none of the girls found were the ones that were missing from Nithari. During the course of these half-hearted investigations,
They found girls. But the girls were not from the Tari. Huh? Ain't no way, dude. Ain't no way. There's just no way. How is that possible?
Investigations from police, something was discovered that baffled everyone, including the people of
They can't find them. I forgot they can't find them. Because they were munched. I'm dumb.
Natari. Next to the 100-meter stretch, aka the black hole, was a sewer where local boys would play games. One day, when a group was playing cricket, one of the boys hit the ball into the nearby bushes. When the boys went looking for the ball, they found something they wished they hadn't. A polythene bag.
Zahando. A hand.
Which had remains of what looked like a person's hand. People immediately reported the disturbing finding to the police. And guess what they did, Aishwarya? They dismissed it as rat carcass and they threw it away. Oh
my god, these people are so retarded. They should be, I'm gonna be honest, they should be put in jail for this one. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, this is an obvious hand. Oh, rat! Rat in a bag that looks like a hand. Of course, bro. Sure. That is crazy. Oh my goodness. These men deserve to get locked up just as much as the guy doing it.
Threw away actual evidence. The police were trying their hardest to not overcomplicate this case, hoping that it would remain a gang-related kidnapping. But the remains of a hand found in a polythene bag right near where all the kids went missing was enough evidence to suggest that something way more sinister was happening. Almost a year had gone by since Jyoti went missing, and the police still hadn't found any reliable leads. On top of that, even more children disappeared. 14-year-old Rimpa Haldar, 5-year-old Chhoti Kavita, 9-year-old Rachna Lal, to name just a few. Although the police had no official leads, the people of Natari had started generating their own suspicions. Number 1 on their list were the inhabitants of house number D5 in Sector 31. 52-year-old Muninder Singh Pandher and his helper, 36-year-old Surendra Kohli. Muninder was a wealthy business owner who jumped...
Are they both munching? They threw it away. Yep, they threw the evidence away. They threw the evidence away. These motherfuckers.
Between his homes in Chandigarh and Sector 31. Originally from Uttarakhand, Surendra, Muninder's domestic help, travelled to Natari in the hope of a better life. His wife and 2 children still lived back home. Muninder also had a family, a wife and a son, but it was known that his marital life was unstable. It was rumoured that Muninder was an alcoholic and frequented parties with younger girls. But what really jostled the community's suspicions on top of everything else was that Muninder's house was within the 100-meter black hole.
Interesting, yeah. Was the tailor also in there? Why Jyoti looks traumatized in the pic? Maybe she was. I mean, if you grow up poor, you'd probably experience a lot of trauma anyways.
All of these suspicions were mere speculation until May 7th, 2006. On that day, Muninder asked 22-year-old Payal if she wanted to work at house number D5. "I am going to Pandher's. He's called me for a job," Payal told her father Nanlal that morning. This wasn't really out of the ordinary. Payal worked at that house pretty often and her father knew about it. At 4 p.m., Payal left her house and took a rickshaw towards Sector 31. A few hours passed and Nanlal was worried. Payal still hadn't come home. He grabbed his phone to give her a call and get an update, but oddly, her phone was switched off. Nanlal felt that something was off and kept calling
Now he said I'm eating an adult woman? That's crazy. So he was sleeping with underage girls? Well, they did bring up Necro. So, potentially, yes. They probably weren't alive at that point, though.
relentlessly, only to hear,
इस नंबर से आप संपर्क करना चाहते हैं वह अभी स्विच ऑफ है कृपया कुछ समय पश्चात प्रयास करें The number you are calling is currently switched off. Please try later.
After a few more failed phone calls, Nanlal's nervousness quickly turned to certainty that something was wrong. Very wrong. It was a grueling night for Nandlal, who waited the whole day and night hoping for his daughter's return. But the cards were not in his favor. This was Nithari, where daughters didn't seem to return.
He just upgraded. He just upgraded what he could get. The bigger prey. That is crazy, bro. That is wild. That is if they are related.
The next day, Payal still hadn't come home, so Nandlal went to house number D5 to see what he could find. He saw Muninder and confronted him. "Where is my daughter? Where is Payal?" he asked. Muninder's response immediately seemed suspicious. "I don't know any Payal." Nandlal knew it was a lie. Payal had worked at the house before. He knew something was up, but given his social class, he was in no position to interrogate Muninder, a rich business owner from Chandigarh. His next option was the police, but he hesitated going to them. Mostly, he feared being ridiculed and dismissed like all the other families of...
True. They didn't really care, and to be fair, I don't trust the police here now anymore, that they would even go against the dude that is rich. That seems to be an unlikely situation to me.
Missing children in Atari. And to no one's surprise, that's exactly what happened. Immediately, the police told him to get lost or bhag ja. But Nandlal wasn't one to quit. He prodded the authorities for months and sought out lawyers to levy pressure. Unlike the parents of other missing victims, Nandlal had financial resources at his disposal. Payal disappeared in May, but the police didn't file a complaint until October, 5 months after she disappeared. Oh, and the police didn't do this voluntarily. Nandlal got the chief magistrate to help order the police to file it, and after months...
Ooh, okay, so we got a father with financial resources forcing the police to do something. Very good, very nice. I like where this is going.
Of begging, urging, and fighting, this was the first FIR filed in this case, and that was after many kids had already gone missing. In the following 5 months, more girls went missing, all in the same 100-meter stretch. One of the many missing girls during that time was 20-year-old Pinky Sarkar, who went missing in August of 2006. When Pinky's parents, Bandana and Jatin Sarkar, went to show a photo of their daughter to the head of Nithari Police, Sub-Inspector Simarjeet Kaur, the officer said, "Your daughter is good looking. She must have run away with someone." As you can imagine,
bro, they're pulling reasons out of their ass. Like, actually, they're just taking their hand, shoving it up their ass just to fight something. What the fuck is that? Oh, she's good looking. She must have ran away with somebody. That makes no sense. Or is that common? Is that a common thing?
Imagine, Pinky's parents felt humiliated and infuriated. Even after her parents tried to defend her honor, the police mocked them. "Tum Bengali logo mein ye sab chalta hai. Humne sab dekha hai. Chalo bhag jao yahan se. Such cases are common among you Bengalis. We have seen it all. Get lost," they said. But once the first FIR was filed, 5 months after Payal went missing and 2 years after the first girl in Atari went missing, the police finally started to take deliberate action.
So they're taking action after like plenty of girls are just gone. That is crazy. The guy with this beard looks like a criminal. Indian police is shit. Super shit! The police really don't work well against someone who is well prepared unless the police locked in, which is rare and come only from their interest. Yeah. Indian military seems strong there. Military is great, not the police. Both are Muslim mobs working for society. Why Bengali is a caste. Okay, yeah, okay. The caste, okay.
It was November 2006 when Payal's case appeared on Officer Vinod Pandey's desk. Officer Pandey was the head of surveillance in Noida, the largest city which encompasses Nithari. While looking through the case, Officer Pandey noticed a possible lead. Payal's father had tried to call his daughter, which meant that there was a cell phone, and perhaps that cell phone could be traced. Officer Pandey sent out memos to all the telecom companies in India telling them to highlight Payal's Nokia phone and her IMEI number, a unique code given to every cellular device in the world. If it popped up on their systems, they would immediately let him know. On top of tracing Payal's cell phone, Officer Pandey thought Nandlal's interaction with Muninder was very suspicious. When he called him in for an interview...
Interesting. So they use the phone, which is smart. That's a smart. They can be useful if they actually would do their job. I wonder how good the police would actually be if they actually did their job. Thinking of it, wake my inner psycho. Calm down, bro. Calm down. We're not committing any crimes here. Love Indian food, but I hope they get better police. They sure need a better police. They need to, like, that's crazy.
Muninder denied knowing Payal. This was a peculiar denial, but Muninder had an alibi. On the day of Payal's disappearance, Muninder said he was in Chandigarh to attend his father's funeral. Officer Pandey was able to check Muninder's mobile location and he found out that Muninder was telling the truth. He was in fact in Chandigarh on May 7th and other sources also corroborated the story. But although Muninder's alibi checked out, Officer Pandey still felt uneasy. He kept interrogating Muninder, and it was lucky that he did because that's when Muninder finally broke.
Oh god, this is where this is gonna get gross as fuck. That's gonna be gross as hell. I can assure you the police and their courts are the better choice. I would assume that, yeah. Sudden smartness, sharp guy. I wish they were sharp earlier. We're not committing crime. White poker, why you break my heart? Fine, we can take over a government if you want.
So all of a sudden now Muninder admitted to knowing about the girls going missing?
Not exactly. He admitted that he knew Payal because Payal worked at his house.
Worked at his house.
But why the fuck would he lie? Like, what is his reasoning for lying? Like, even if he broke now, that makes you suspicious. That's odd. Weird behavior.
What exactly does that mean?
Payal, you see, was a call girl, and he used to pay her 20.
Oh well, that makes sense. That is crazy.
25,000 rupees to visit him twice a month. So, Officer Pandey knows that Muninder lied, but there was nothing he could do about it. With no evidence tying...
Well, that's terrible. That's awful. Hi, Vern. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Hello. Well, that's an oddity. Author the government, yeah, which one though? Yes. We're building a world government. I mean, they're already trying it, so might as well just join the side. Interesting. So she was a call girl. Thought so. Yeah, she's a call girl. Well, was.
Muninder to the missing girls, you'd think Officer Pandey had hit a dead end. But then the case had a major breakthrough. Airtel, one of India's largest telecom SIM providers, followed up with Officer Pandey and notified him that Payal's...
That would have been a diabolical switch to an ad. I swear, they're terrible.
Cell phone had pinged on their radar. This was the moment Officer Pandey was looking for. The police rushed to the phone's pinged location. Weaving in and out of traffic to find who they thought would be the perpetrator of these terrible kidnappings, they tracked the phone to a rickshaw rider. The police insisted the rider share the whereabouts of Payal, but he claimed innocence. He told police he'd recently bought the phone. In this cascade of events unfolding one after the other, Officer Pandey
bought the phone, so somebody sold the phone to somebody else. Interesting. Yeah, we ain't supporting communism. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Not happening on my watch. That didn't go so well for many countries.
noticed something pivotal. He realized the phone was ringing. If the phone was ringing, then it had to have a SIM card. And if the SIM card wasn't the rickshaw rider's, then it had to be registered to someone else's name. Perhaps that someone else knew something about Payal. Officer Pandey emailed the phone's SIM card number to all the telecom companies in India, asking them to send any details they had about the SIM's registration and ownership. Officer Pandey got a response. A Christmas gift, you might say. This nonchalant, extremely short email blew the case wide open. The email had everything they had been looking for. The email said, Surendra Kohli, Village Nithari, Sector 31, Noida.
Wait, so Payal was the call girl that Muninder used to call, and he confessed to this. So then why would Surendra Kohli's name show up on the telecom radar?
That is
odd. That is weird. Okay, we can start with a monarchy. Oh, yeah, we can do that. Where he ate her, the phone got stuck in... What the fuck are we doing? That's interesting. Whether they even hide that many bones, though? I don't know. Probably in the garden? I mean, you could... With enough resources, you could possibly get fully rid of, like, bones if you'd have, like, some acid or stuff. Sometimes I grab a fly and rib it limb to limb, wing to wing. That's very interesting. I think that's slightly concerning. Vern, that's quite slightly concerning.
exactly what baffled the cops too. Muninder had been the prime suspect from day number one because of his scandalous lifestyle. Kohli, on the other hand, was this meek, docile character lurking in Muninder's shadows. And another thing to be noted that was revealed in the investigation was that Payal's own father used to give her up for prostitution. That's why he knew where she was and what she was doing. A barrage of jeeps with sirens wailing swarmed Kohli at house number D5 in Sector 31. There wasn't much Kohli could do. Even if he wasn't involved in Payal's disappearance, the police had enough evidence to arrest him for theft, which was exactly what they did. Police arrested Kohli and...
Oh, so they arrested him for theft. Okay, so possibly he. Into my place. I did it too as a kid, bro. Weirdo, freaky. I funny how we guessed that the ugly dude has something to do with it. Isn't that funny? We profiled, bro.
Brought him in for interrogation. We kept interrogating Kohli till our spirits broke, but he did not break, said Officer Pandey. The man who everybody in the village described as shy turned completely stoic while under interrogation. It took hours of prodding, scaring and convincing until Kohli finally gave in. He admitted it. He had murdered Payal and disposed of her body. But the confessions didn't stop there.
Where is this going? German police would be better. Isn't that right? Yeah, they would be. They would be. Like, this wouldn't go that far. I mean, they found a dude quite quickly who tore apart a man and a woman and put another woman into the freezer. Like how it's always the ugly one. Yeah, sometimes, though Jeffrey Dahmer was considered as described as handsome. Same with Ted Bundy. It's just that more on that. I think it would be more likely that somebody would be ugly. I think that's the problem. Which then in this case, guys, we're all criminals.
I'm sorry, but that makes no sense to me. First, he's this shy and puny character. Then he's this brick wall of confidence and mystery. And now all of a sudden, he's an open book.
This is a book you wouldn't want to read, Aishwarya. Its contents are all too real and all too gory. In fact, Officer Pandey himself said there was something psychotic about Kohli, something about him that he just couldn't wrap his head around. Now that the police had finally broken Kohli, the story was finally filling out. Kohli said he was the one who called Payal to house number D5 because he was infatuated with her. When Payal went to the house, they both sat in the living room. Kohli said he tried to solicit Payal for sex.
Wait a minute. So he was out of gooner reasons? That's crazy. So, bro, you were infatuated with a call girl. What do you want for that? What do you want from that? That doesn't really help you. She's asking too many good questions.
But she refused. After facing denial, he decided to take a more aggressive route. While fetching some tea for the pair, Kohli went behind Payal and strangled her with her own scarf. Looking to capitalize on his urges, Kohli then said he had sex with Payal's corpse.
Stop with the why stop with the dead people. Stop with the dead people.
But if that wasn't disturbing enough, what about all the other missing girls? If he could do that to a grown woman, what about the children? As soon as the police made this connection, they quickly grabbed the missing persons flyer which had all the children's photos on it to show to Kohli. One by one, he identified the children and revealed the extent of his atrocities in the black hole. Over the course of 2 years, at least 19 people had gone missing. Rimpa Haldar, Pinky Sarkar, Jyoti Lal and Payal, to name a few. Why 19? Why so many? Why girls? Why children? These questions had baffled the cops, but they wished they hadn't asked them.
Yeah, I think you would have said, yeah, he took them. We're gonna send him to jail. We're not even gonna ask what happened. The children saw hell before. Yep, they saw hell. Is he gonna? Did he munch all of them? Like, where are the bodies?
In January or February of 2004, I was standing outside D5 when a girl was coming towards Sector 31 from Nithari. Later, I was told her name was Rimpa Haldar. I lured her in, telling her I have candy for her. As she came in, I went behind her and strangled her with her own scarf. After that, I tried to have sex with her but wasn't able to. So I killed her with my own hands. Why did you kill her? I don't know. There was just this pressure that I had to kill her. There was something within me, I just had to. Then I took her dead body to the bathroom upstairs and I got a knife from the kitchen.
Nah, bro. Bro lost his streak. He was so close. Bro, that's crazy. Oh my goodness, no. Even if he cannibalized them, what did do with a skeleton? Crazy. Morbius. It's Morbin time.
After that, I cut a piece of her arm and her left breast, which I cooked in the kitchen. Then I ate her breast. When I was going through these recordings,
never let homie cook again. You burned the whole kitchen. Bro, this is crazy. The muncher. Where are the other girls though? We still have 5 more minutes. Where are the girls?
Aishwarya, one thing stood out that shook me to my core. Kohli is on tape saying,
like, where are the other girls?
Maru, Katu, Khau. Or kill, cut, eat.
But Aryan, as disgusting as this confession is there more than the confession to link him to the missing people?
That was something the police were worried about. If Kohli rescinded his confession, the cops had nothing to base their case off of, so they immediately went to D5 to collect more evidence. How did Kohli in 2 years dispose not 1, not 2, but 19 dead bodies with nobody finding out?
But technically people did find out, right? You mentioned the children that were playing cricket and found what looked like a hand wrapped in plastic.
Yes, exactly. And that's where Kohli said he'd buried not just the hand, but the heads of all his victims as well. In the course of
the heads! What is with the rest of it?
Their investigation, police collected all kinds of evidence, including psychological evidence like polygraph tests, narco-analysis via a truth serum, and my personal favorite, psychoanalysis. And a psychoanalysis was there to determine the level of psychopathy.
Wouldn't he die anyways? He's gonna die anyways, because I think you develop a sickness when you do that. The old guy didn't know about this bullshit. I kind of don't buy it, I agree.
That Kohli was suffering. It was ruled that Kohli was not a psychopath.
So what happened to Kohli?
By December 2006, Kohli was taken into custody and all hell broke loose. House number D5 was surrounded by hundreds upon hundreds of villagers from Nithari, including the parents of the missing children. Standing outside among a sea of people were Pinky's parents, Jatin and Bandna Sarkar. Right as they reached D5, they both spotted yellow clothes in the police's evidence pile. Bandna fainted when she saw them because she knew whose clothes they were. They were Pinky's, the clothes she wore the day she disappeared. Aishwarya, I've had nightmares about this case I wouldn't want to revisit. Remember how I told you that Kohli beheaded his victims? The police found 19 skulls behind house number D5, some still with hair on them, and the skulls were so small you could tell they were a child's. In the course of the investigation, more evidence came up. Clothes, bones, knives, and bodies were uncovered. The Noida police had spectacularly failed. Nithari was headlines all over the world.
Failed is not even comparable. Failed is not that is not failure. I think the men completely dismissing this case should be in jail.
So on January 9th, 2007, the Nithari case was transferred to the Central Bureau of Investigation, the CBI, India's national investigating body, on the lines of the FBI and US. But if this case wasn't twisted enough for you already, Aishwarya, there are more twists to come.
Of course.
How is there more? Imagine being the parents. I couldn't imagine. True crime is depressing, very depressing. I couldn't imagine that. How would I imagine that? Hopefully I'll never be in that position. That'd be crazy.
Of course there are. But what about the man that owned D5, Muninder Pandey? It seems really implausible to me that someone could bury 19 skulls in my backyard and I would have no idea.
Well, Aishwarya, the CBI's theory is that police corruption played a major factor. A CBI investigation found that Inspector
There we have it. There we have it. Now we have it. Now that's why it seems unreasonable. I hope this man probably didn't go to jail, but I hope he did.
Remember the one who disrespected Pinky's parents, was accepting bribes from Muninder. According to the CBI though, Muninder wasn't paying off the police to cover up any murder or kidnappings. He was trying to hush up his prostitution ring. The CBI concluded Muninder was innocent and gave him a clean sheet. The media didn't care though. Muninder had already been painted a demon by the masses and no amount of evidence could vindicate him. The public's hate for Muninder grew so strong that...
Damn, bro. Damn. Yeah, beat his ass. Did he? Bro, that's crazy. Well, Diddy is quite accurate here.
Every time he visited the court, despite police protection, mobs managed to beat him black and blue. Khalid Khan, the lawyer for the families of missing children, believed Muninder's involvement went much deeper than simply soliciting prostitution. He argued that 19 skulls couldn't have just popped up in Muninder's backyard without him knowing about it. But above the circumstantial evidence, Khan said that he had potentially game-changing evidence that would tie Muninder to the crime. On the day of Kohli's arrest, Khan claimed that Muninder had written a confession to the crimes and that he was in possession of it. This was a bombshell claim that Muninder obviously denied. Muninder also had the CBI backing him up, dismissing the confession as evidence. But when the case finally hit the courts, Muninder was not so lucky. Even though the CBI's charge sheet had Surendra as the lone suspect responsible for the crimes in Nithari, the Allahabad High Court was not convinced. A last-minute twist changed the outcome of the verdict. The judge allowed Khan to submit Muninder's confession to the police as actual...
Oh, thank goodness. We get a somewhat good ending. Thank goodness.
...evidence and rejected the CBI's charge sheet, finding both Surendra and Muninder guilty of the Nithari mass murders. Their punishment? Hanging. Something their victims...
Yes. Good. Good. Very good.
...would have gladly chosen over being killed, cut and eaten.
Done. I'm the High Court overturned when is... Wait, overturned? Oh. He did get it anyways. Never mind, he did get it anyways. Just way too late. But he did get it anyways, hopefully. Man! Okay, as of May 2020. How does this take so long? Deletion penalty, very good. W in chat. When was this released? 2 years ago. I hope they're dead now. That was terrible. So we still didn't get a full good ending because these motherfuckers just didn't. They're still alive, possibly. No. You're right, he was already old, so this doesn't change anything. It really doesn't. Now, well, then he wasn't even older. I'll just take time. Yeah, a little too long. Never. What the fuck, Charlotte? Calm down. Calm down. That's crazy. I mean, we can Google it. We can Google it. These bitch are still alive. These bitch people are still alive. They are still alive. No. Oh my goodness. These fuckers are still alive. These fuckers are still alive. At this point, they might as well not get it at all. Because they might die of old age before they actually get taken out. Damn it. I mean, as long as they are in prison, though, they always have to live with the fact that every day could be the... Maybe that's actually even better. Consider this. They're in prison. They're waiting for their penalty. And every single day they live with the fact that this could be the last one. Maybe that's actually a better torture. And eventually they'll get it. At least in prison. Now, yeah, they are in prison. Holy shit. That's crazy. That's crazy. That was wild.